Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Star Wars Corner, and today we are going to be talking about Season 1 of The Mandalorian. So, I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be ranking these episodes from worst to first and talking about them in depth. So, this is going to be spoiler filled. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, or maybe say you're halfway through the season, you don't want to be spoiled on certain chapters, I will tell you, like, the chapter before I actually start talking about it, so you can avoid spoilers. And if you haven't seen the season at all, then go watch the season and come back. I encourage you to. So before we start talking about the chapters, I think I'm gonna get this out of the way. I think that it was very solid first season. If I had to give it a score, I'll probably say either 7 or 8 out of 10. All right, so coming in last place, we have Chapter 5. So I think the big problem with Chapter 5 is that the story is very dull. At least this chapter was dull. And the acting was pretty abysmal, if I'm going to be honest. I think everybody, except for the Mandalorian was acted well. But I think everybody else, the old lady who takes care of Baby Yoda and the other bounty hunter, I thought they did a pretty bad job. If I'm going to be completely honest, I thought it was very their acting was like pretty corny. Um, and also, this chapter does not have a lot of weight on the rest of the story. I know the story was, at least the first season, there was like 4 vignettes, and then there were like the 4 other chapters that like tied to the main story, which was with the Imperials. But I just didn't like this episode really that much. They go after some lady because this young guy wants to get into the guild, and this is his first job. So the Mando helps him out because he probably wants a bit of cash too or something. Um, and so eventually the young guy betrays Mando, but Mando just ends up killing him in the end. So nothing really too fancy going on with this episode. Is there anything I liked? If there is one thing I really did like, I liked the interaction between the Mando and the Sand People. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, up next, coming in seventh place, I'm gonna put Chapter 4. Now, something that I noticed very quickly in Chapter 4 is that this was very similar to an episode from the Clone Wars Season 1 where Anakin, Ahsoka, and Aayla Secura crash land on a planet, and then they find a village of people who are being attacked by the Separatists, so they help defend their home. This is essentially the same episode. It's like very, very similar. So these pig people, I'm gonna call them pig people, but they attack this village of, I don't even know. I think they're like farmers or something. And then Mando comes to the planet because this was one episode after he betrayed the guild, so he's trying to lay low. Pretty much goes in exile. So just by chance, he happens to go to the planet at the same time these people are getting attacked. So they find Mando and they ask him with this other rebel shock trooper. I forget her name. They mentioned her name. I forget though. I think it was something Dune. Um, but yeah, they pay them to help protect the their village from the pig people, and they got a freaking ATST. So at first they didn't want to do it. Eventually they convinced them. And there was also a nice. I thought it was a good relationship between the one woman and the Mando. Looked like sparks were flying, but eventually at the end, Mando, um, you know, he couldn't do it. He said, "This isn't the life for me." He was about to leave Baby Yoda, but he knows that the bounty hunter tried to kill Baby Yoda, so that's kind of what snapped him back to reality. But overall, I thought the episode was all right. Um, Nothing too great. I thought it was a little bit. I thought it was a little bit corny. Like the rebels or the rebel shock troopers like train the villagers with sticks. It's like that's gonna do anything against the ATST. But it wasn't bad. But it wasn't great. That's why I gotta put chapter 4 here. All right, coming up next in sixth place is chapter 6. So this was a very fun episode, I think, with bad acting again. Um, so the Mando, he just uh he just killed the young bounty hunter from the last episode, and he's just roaming through space, and he goes to an old friend. I think it's an old friend. I guess to just lay low, but he's got a job for him, and this bearded guy, he's got a job for him. They got to break a Twi'lek out of a New Republic prison, and the biggest problem I have with this episode is I think the crew is kind of annoying. The Twi'lek girl, I liked her for like 1 minute, and then she just got on my nerves. And then it was kind of funny how like annoying they were. Then the red demon guy, every 12 seconds, she's just laughing. Like it got old after like 3 times. But I did like Bill Burr. I think Bill Burr's character was good. I thought he was acted pretty well. Also, one cool detail I didn't notice is when they break into the prison, they thought that it was just droids, but they come into contact with a human. And I didn't actually realize this first, but the human is Matt Lantern, who is the voice for Anakin Skywalker. The Clone Wars, cool little Easter egg there. But yeah. So eventually they break out the Twi'lek, and then they betray Mando. They kind of like push him in the cell, and they just about to fucking leave. Then Mando pulls out some badass shit, and he just goes full fucking badass here. He like you think they shoot it in a way where you think he kills everybody, but he actually ends up not. And so yeah, he comes back with just the Twi'lek mail and gives it to his old friend. And the old guy's like, where the hell's everybody else? And the man was just like, yeah, no questions asked, right? He's like, yep, that's the code. So Mando's about to leave, then old guy tells Twi'lek to go kill him, but a bunch of X-Wings from the New Republic show up, and they fucking bomb the place. Um, yeah, so I thought it was a decent episode. I think just the big problem was just it like some of the characters were really annoying. I think they fell really flat for me. All right, coming in fifth place, we're gonna have Chapter 2. Now, I think this is really the place where the episodes start to take a turn for the better. And I didn't actually initially like Chapter 2 at first, coming off the great pilot episode, Chapter 1. But actually looking back in it, I think I really like it a lot. I think there's some great character building for both Mando and Mandalorian and Queel. Um, so basically, Mandalorian just broke out Baby Yoda, and it starts off with a fight. It was Mando versus 3 Trandoshans, and Mando wins. That was a well choreographed fight, really like that. Um, and then he goes back to the ship, and then a bunch of Jawa fuckers just fucking destroyed his ship. They took all his parts. So Mando tries to chase down the Sandcrawler, but he kind of gets fucked in the end by the Jawas. So he goes to Queel for help, and then Queel and Mando go to the Jawas, asking if they can trade anything, and the Jawas want this egg. And Mando doesn't know what the egg is, but like Queel's shaking his head like he knows what the egg is. The Jawas were really funny in this episode. The Jawas were great. Um, so Mando has to go into this butthole-looking cave to find the egg. So he walks in, and then this big-ass mudhorn like almost kills him. So then he has a fight with the mudhorn. He doesn't do very well. And this is the first time we see Baby Yoda use the Force. He's Force sensitive. There's a lot of rumors going around that people think that the whole species is Force sensitive. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, we've only seen like 3 people from his species, and they all happen to be Force sensitive. He's probably just Force sensitive just for the sake of the plot. But I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Um, so yeah, that was good. And then Mando ended up killing the Mudhorn. So I really like this episode. It was a bit slow coming off the pilot, but I think there was some great character building for Mando, Yoda, and Queel. All right, now entering the top half of the episodes. Coming in at number 4, we're gonna have Chapter 8. So if you haven't noticed, the bottom half were all the vignettes, and now the top four are all the four episodes that tie to the main story with the Imperials. So I see a lot of people are putting Chapter 8 at number 1. Now I don't think it's the best, but I can definitely see their reasoning. I think that these top four chapters are all very good, very good. Um, they all really could be interchangeable if you give me a strong enough argument. Okay, so Chapter 8. Chapter 8, so Moff Gideon and the Imperials have Mando, Rebel Shocky, and Apollo Creed locked down in the Imperial lair thing with the other old guy. Um, so Moff Gideon reveals a lot of stuff about um, I think it's Cara Dune, I think is the name of the Rebel shock trooper, and then Amando reveals a lot of stuff about their backstory. So that was cool to see. So one of the coolest things from this episode was that they confirmed that Mando was rescued in a battle in the Clone Wars from Death Watch. You could see the insignia on their shoulder. So I could obviously tell that this was probably pre Darth Maul, before Darth Maul came, because they still wore their bluish armor. When Darth Maul came, they switched to like reddish armor to like match Darth Maul. But so yeah, that was nice. And then Mandalorian, and so they escape underground, and they go back to the Mandalorian like metal like place with the woman, Mandalorian woman, and so there's some good dialogue there. And then eventually at the end, they have to escape in this lava river with a big ass R2D2 thing with legs and arms. I was like, what the hell? When I saw that the first time, that was good. Um, but eventually, IG-88 has to sacrifice himself because there's like a whole platoon of stormtroopers just waiting to ambush them. So he uses the self-destruct thing from the first episode that they teased, um, and he saves them. So they are about to escape. Then Moff Gideon comes in with a TIE fighter. Looks like he's about to kill him, but then Mandalorian uses his new jetpack, helps save the day, and eventually fucks up the TIE fighter, and Moff Gideon falls to what was presumably his death until the end. And you see a bunch of Jawas around the TIE fighter, and Moff Gideon escapes the TIE fighter with the frickin' Darksaber. So, wow, I don't know what to say. Like, the Darksaber, I think it looked pretty good. It was a little bit too white, I think, around the edges. I think they got to make it a bit more black, like more black defined. But it was very interesting. We don't know actually how Moff Gideon got the Darksaber. I'm sure we'll find that out. I think this is setting up a lot of good stuff for season two. Like if season two of Mandalorian can claim the Darksaber, and we're gonna see Baby Yoda species. So yeah, this episode really set up a lot of good stuff. All right, coming into the top three now. At number three, we have Chapter 7. Now, I really like this episode because this is the first time we see all of the characters from the full season come together. We see Mandalorian, Queel, Cara Dune, um, and Apollo Creed, and some other guild members come together because they're going to try to kill the Imperialist on the planet who basically started this whole story off pretty much with this job to get Baby Yoda. So, on the first night, they're attacked by some dragon looking things. I don't even know what they are. They looked like giant ass Minox. But they weren't, they obviously weren't Minox, but they looked like them. And a bunch of the bounty hunters, a couple of them are killed, and a couple of the blurgs are taken. And then Apollo Creed gets hit really hard, has a really nasty cut on his arm, and it's poisonous, and he's about to die. But then Baby Yoda comes up clutch, and he uses Force Heal, saves Apollo Creed from death. So that was awesome. Another Force power for Baby Yoda. And then the next day, the bounty hunters are about to kill Mando because they were about to betray him. But then Apollo Creed turns around and shoots him, and he basically admits that the plan was to kill him and betray him. But after what he did last night, he couldn't do it. it wasn't the honorable thing to do. So that was cool. Um, I think Apollo Creed is kind of at that point he kind of switched back to the protagonist role. He wasn't really an antagonist anymore after Chapter 3. Um, so that was good. So basically, they go back, invade the well, not really invade, but they come back into the city. They try to do an ambush on the old guy, and eventually, um, Moff Gideon shows up and just kills the old guy because they know they don't have Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda is back on the ship. No. Baby Yoda's with Queel, and Queel's heading back to the ship, and IG-88 is on the ship. So basically, the Imperials found a couple of Imperial scout troopers listening in on the conversation because I think they jammed the links or something. They listened in, and the scout troopers on the speeder bikes find out that Queel has Baby Yoda and he's going back to the ship, and Queel almost makes it, but eventually Queel ends up getting shot down, and they steal Baby Yoda. So it was a really sad ending. I really liked Queel. He's obviously dead. I never thought I could like it Ugnaught so much. I thought they wrote Queel really well, even though he was only in like 3 episodes, and I already like him more than like almost. He's a very high ranking character. If I had to rank all the characters, I really liked Queel. So yeah, that was Chapter 7. Really liked it overall. All right, coming in at number 2, we have Chapter 1, the pilot. So this show started off with a bang. We see Mandalorian come to this bar, and a couple of like thugs try to jump him, but he just fucking kills him. And then uh, this blue guy who the thugs were picking on tries to thank Mandalorian, tries to give him some credits, but Mando was actually there for the blue guy the whole time because the blue guy had a bounty on his head. So Mando takes him in, and there was a great moment. Oh my god, it was it was the same species from that. I think it was the Imperial spy from Episode 4. It's that same species. He pulls out a frickin' like nose flute and he just plays a song. I was like, right when that happened, I knew the show was gonna be good because I knew they understand Star Wars. I was like, fuck yeah, that's it. And then he played it again, and it was awesome. So so yeah, that was the opener. So pretty much there was a weird ass fight with this little space fucking whale, or even not space whale. I mean like water whale. I don't even know. But Mando is able to escape with the blue guy. I didn't like the blue guy, by the way. I thought he was annoying. I thought he was kind of just there to just make Mando look like a badass. You wouldn't know. Want to know what made Mando look like even more of a badass is if they made the guy that he captured a badass as well. But Mando was just more of a badass. Like Mando had like extremely high testosterone levels, but the other guy just had like pretty good testosterone levels. Like that would have been cool. Um, but then, yeah, so he comes back, talks with Apollo Creed a bit, and then Apollo Creed tells him about this job, and it's one of the highest paying jobs that he's got. So he goes to this imperialist. So this imperialist gives him a tracking fob and some other information. He says he wants this subject alive, and it's 50 years old. So that was cool. Oh yeah, and there's an imperial scientist. He kind of looks like a little bubbly, awkward teen, even though he wasn't a teen. He kind of felt like that. Um, so Mando shows up. I thought it was Ryloth at first because it had the blurs. I don't know if it's actually Ryloth. Maybe it's like a different section of Ryloth. Because I didn't know. I don't know if the blurgs actually live on other planets. Because I know the blurgs live on Ryloth. I know that from the Clone Wars. But so yeah, he shows up, gets attacked by a couple of blurgs, and Queel shows up, and then Queel decides to help him because he likes he's intrigued by the idea of helping a Mandalorian, and there's some pretty good fan service. So Mando's having trouble riding the blurg, and then Queel kind of gets pissed at him. Well, not really pissed, but he's kind of like, bro, like you can't ride this little blurg. Like your ancestors rode the great mythosaur, which so I didn't realize it as at first, but the mythosaur is the big dragon-like thing that Boba Fett rode in the holiday special. And so that was cool. So Mando eventually he settles down, gets calm, and eventually makes peace with the blurrg. He's able to ride it, and the score was great. And I thought the score was really good when he did that. There was like I don't even know what it was when like he was about to like touch the blurrg. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like maybe it was like a Kuena or maybe an Irish flute, Native American flute. But yeah, that was nice. That was a great it was a great piece of music that I can't remember what it was called. I'll look it up. But so yeah, eventually he shows up to the place where Baby Yoda is, and then it's like there's these pirates, and they're like the same species as Hondo, I think. I think they are. Maybe they aren't. But so IG-11 gets there before him, and then he just wipes out everybody, pretty much everybody. Then Mando comes in. He's like, wait, I'm a member of the guild too. How about we split the reward? And IG-11's like, all right. So there's a big ass gunfight with the rest of the pirates. And eventually they're able to kill them all. And then they find Baby Yoda. IG-11 opens, or actually, no, Mando opens up the little canister, I think, and it's revealed that, and then Baby Yoda is revealed, and then IG-11's like, "We gotta kill him. This subject is to be terminated." And Mando's like, "No," and he just fucking kills him. And then it ends with a great shot of Mando and Yoda touching fingers. So I thought this was a great pilot. It was a little bit slow, honestly, for a season, a show opener, but I thought it was good. Like some people's, I've heard some arguments that it kind of felt like episode 3 of like season 2 or something like that, and I kind of get their point. But either way, I thought it was a great episode, so that's why it's here at number 2. So at our number 1 spot, we have chapter 3. I think chapter 3 was I'm not gonna say by far, but I definitely think it was the strongest episode. So Mando comes back to Navarro. I think it's Navarro. I think that's the name of the planet. He comes back to Navarro to receive his reward, and he gives Baby Yoda to the Imperial, and he gets just a stash of um, Beskar metal. And you can tell that Mando kind of feels a little bit guilty for putting in Baby Yoda. I mean, like, this kid, it's only a baby. Well, I mean, it's 50 years old, but in Yoda species, it's like basically a baby. So he feels a little bit guilty, but he doesn't really think much about it. So then he goes to like the Mandalorian smelter place with the one Mandalorian woman, and then he gets decked out. He gets a full cuirass of Beskar. Then he shows up to Apollo Creed's little cantina thing, all decked out, and everybody's looking at him like, "Oh shit, who's this guy?" You know. And then he's all ready to go back, get him more bounties. But then Apollo Creed is like, "Nah, man, take some time, enjoy yourself." So Mando asks Apollo Creed, "What are they gonna do with the baby?" And then Apollo, you could tell right there is when he kind of switched, kind of like, what the hell are they going to do with this little baby? I don't want him to hurt him. I don't want them to hurt him. And Apollo Creed's like, I don't know, I didn't ask. It's not part of the code. So Mandalorian's about to leave Navarro, he's about to leave the planet. And then he notices that on the little switch or handle thing, there was a ball that Baby Yoda kept playing with, and it's not there anymore. So that set off a spark in his head. He's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go get the baby. So he goes in with the great, goes back in with a shootout. The old guy's gone. I don't know what happened to him, but kills all the stormtroopers. He decides to leave the scientist alive because I don't know, he's kind of just a pawn, I guess. And then he's about to leave, but every other bounty hunter in the guild had the same tracking fob, so they can see that Mando's trying to leave with the prize, which is against the code. So they all circle around him, and then Apollo Creed comes out, and he's like, "What are you trying to do? You trying to leave? Like, set the thing down, and maybe we'll let you live." The Mandalorian's like, "No." So he gets a giant shootout. He's actually doing pretty well. Kills a bunch of them, but you can obviously tell he's overwhelmed. It looks like he's about to die. And then the rest of the Mandalorians show up, great fashion, show up in the jetpacks. I think the big one, the blue armor, I think that was actually John Favreau, the guy with the minigun. Oh my, that was probably like the best shot of the season. That was freaking awesome. He just shows up, and then "This is the way." That's a great line. Then they show up. So basically, Mando's about to escape on his ship. Apollo Creed tries to track him down. Mandalorian hits him right in the heart, but thankfully for Apollo Creed, he had a little stash of Beskar that was right there in that area, so the blaster bolt actually hit him right there. So he's able to survive, and that's basically the end of the episode. So overall, I thought it was a really solid season. Season 1 of The Mandalorian. I'm very interested to see what they're going to do in Season 2. There's a lot of stuff they could do. I think Mandalorian's probably going to go try to find Baby Yoda's home world or species or someone from his species or something like that. And they're obviously going to do more with Moff Gideon. And if Mando's got to claim the Darksaber, that'll be sick. And also in Chapter 5, they set up something. They had a shot of some guy's feet just like walking up to the dead girl that the rookie bounty hunter killed. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't even know who it is. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.